I'm 17 now, but what I'm about to tell you happened when I was 14. That year my parents bought an old house on the outskirts of town. A big weathered home surrounded by fields and a forest. They wanted peace, space, nature. I hated it from the start. From the very first night, something felt wrong. Not dangerous, just off. Like we weren't truly alone. The house creaked constantly. The hallways seemed to stretch longer at night. And the attic, I couldn't even look at it without feeling cold. The previous owners had left a large wooden crucifix on the hallway wall. My mother wanted to throw it away, but my father said it was good luck, so we left it there. I think that's when everything began. The first time I heard footsteps upstairs. It was around midnight. I was on my phone, everyone else asleep. Slow, heavy steps, right above my room. I went up the stairs, but there was nothing, except the crucifix, slightly twisted as if someone had tried to rip it from the wall. The second night was worse. I woke up to the sound of breathing, uneven, labored, coming from the corner of my room. When I turned on the lamp, no one was there, but the air smelled thick, like burnt wax or a candle just blown out. Within a week, I noticed the mirrors in the house started to show different things. Sometimes a shadow behind me, sometimes figures standing in the hallway, and every morning the crucifix had moved, just slightly, like it never stayed still. One night I heard my mother praying in her room. Her voice was trembling. I knocked on her door, but when she opened it she was sound asleep. Still I could hear her voice, whispering from behind the wall. The next night I decided to record everything. Around 3 in the morning I aimed my camera at the hallway. You can see the crucifix. And then, for a split second, something passes in front of it. A tall white shape, no face. And right before the footage glitches, you can hear a whisper. Non tibi sed nobis. Not for you, but for us. The next morning the crucifix was gone. In its place, a black burn mark scorched into the wood. And above my bed, 3 dark fingerprints smeared like soot. We moved out a month later. My parents never talked about it again. But sometimes at night I still hear footsteps above me, and in my dreams. The voice keeps whispering the same thing. Non tibi sed nobis. Even now at 17 I still wonder, who was that presence? Why that house? Did it follow me here? And most of all, what does that phrase truly mean? This past weekend I decided to clean out my grandparents' old house. A lonely place buried deep in the countryside. I thought I'd find the usual stuff. Yellowed photographs, dusty books, maybe an old clock that didn't work anymore. But instead I found a tape recorder from the 1980s, with a cassette still inside. The label on it simply said, "For when you'll know." I figured it was some old sentimental message. Something like, "Take care of the garden," or "Don't forget to feed the cat." But curiosity got the better of me. I plugged the recorder into an extension cord, pressed play, and at first, it was just static, like wind. Then, a voice began to speak. It was my grandmother's voice, but she wasn't telling a story. She was repeating my name, softly at first, then louder, and louder, until it almost sounded like she was shouting. I stopped the tape halfway through. It didn't sound like her anymore. Her tone had changed, like she was crying or laughing. I couldn't tell. When I pressed play again, it wasn't her voice at all. It was a man's, a voice I'd never heard before. He said something like,
"You should never have listened."
Then came a screeching noise, metal grinding against metal, and the tape stopped dead. The machine just froze. I thought maybe the cassette was old, jammed. So I grabbed a pen to rewind it manually. But the second my fingers touched the tape, it started turning on its own. No power, no sound, just turning slowly. I panicked. I threw everything, the recorder, the cassette, into a plastic bag and went outside to smoke, trying to convince myself I was just tired. But ever since, I swear I can still hear my grandmother's voice, calling my name over and over. Last night I crashed on the couch trying to shake it off. Around 3 a.m. the TV turned on by itself. Screen black, volume maxed out. And then the same voice. Not coming from the TV, from behind me. I couldn't move. I couldn't turn around. I just sat there, staring at the wall until the sun came up. When I finally got up, the recorder was back in the living room, placed neatly in the center of the table. I swear I left it outside in that plastic bag. I don't know if it's just exhaustion or something. Worse. But now I keep thinking about that label. For when you'll know. Maybe my grandmother knew exactly what I'd find. And maybe I wasn't supposed to. Every story leaves a trace. A whisper. A feeling. A question we can't quite answer. If these tales intrigued you, make sure to subscribe for more real experiences from around the world. Until we meet again, stay curious and stay safe. Until next time.